When the BP oil spill hit the Gulf in 2010, the research team at the National Center for Disaster Preparedness and the Children's Health Fund knocked on 6,800 doors and interviewed nearly 1,500 families in search for the spill's impact. They found that 2 of every 5 parents reported that their children had physical or mental health problems after the spill, and a similar number said that they were economically impacted by it. The team wanted a way for youth to be able to help themselves in the event of a disaster. So they teamed up with the Center for Disaster and Risk Analysis at Colorado State University and created Shoreline, a project-based youth empowerment program where youth help youth recover from disaster.
A couple of years ago, I was in Philadelphia on a panel about Superstorm Sandy, and one of the representatives from the workshop school, which is a project-based learning school in Philadelphia, was at this workshop with 3 of their high school students. And she had them come up afterwards and talk to me after this panel, and they were asking me questions, and I said, "Oh, you have no idea. My collaborator, David Abramson, and I, we're trying to form this youth-focused project, and actually I'm the one who has questions for you and wants to learn from you."
The structure of project-based learning was what was so appealing to us right away, because in the course of thinking about a project, it really challenged the students right away to think about, well, what are we doing? What kind of a problem are we solving? What can we do? We liked that they had to use math and science and history, and they had to think about how do you solder things and how do you build solar panels and what's important about modular housing and how do you address population needs. So they were covering such a wide gamut that it seemed like the kind of thing that we would like to use to help engage the Shoreline students, because it's the same scale.
After David and Lori's trip to Philadelphia, they created Shoreline and brought it to 6 different high schools in the Gulf Coast region and New York. Each high school had a Shoreline cohort of students that worked together to develop a disaster-related project. All of the projects in the first year, from art therapy to box ovens, were exceedingly innovative and addressed critical disaster-related issues. However, all of the projects followed one process. The first step in that process is to identify the problem. Situated in Irvington, Alabama, the students at Alma Bryant were all too familiar with the struggles that came with hurricanes. One of the problems they identified was not being able to cook food during a power outage. With their problem in hand, their next step was to come up with a solution. In their first year of Shoreline, the Alma Bryant students came up with the idea of a box oven made out of common household materials. A box, aluminum foil, hangers, tin cans. They hoped that the box oven would make cooking during emergency situations more accessible. In their second year, they researched solutions for cooking more nutritious meals.
This year, we wanted to continue our project from last year, which was the Powerless Cook-Off. However, we wanted to focus on the more nutritional aspects, like, after a disaster, people may not have access to fresh, nutritional food. We did a lot of researches like, the nutritional content of MREs, like how to prepare nutritional meals, what sort of foods work better, in our box oven. We found out that MREs have lots of fat, calories, sodium, preservatives, and so after a while, they cease to become nutritionally viable. It's too much for your body to handle. So we wanted to solve this by creating a powerless kitchen. And the powerless kitchen is basically just a combination of our box oven in conjunction with bamboo charcoal and the tin can stove. And so you can use these to sort of support yourself after a disaster.
The next certification level as they move through the pipeline would be to see if they actually can implement this activity in their community.
Let's get it lighted.
Yeah, we got it lighted.
As they did the year before, Alma Bryant hosted a box oven cook-off, where teams compete in a box oven cooking competition at their school.
And so that's level 3. Level 4 is once the project has been implemented, have they actually evaluated it to see if it works?
The food that we focused on was the nutritional side, and that was really good because it was a lot better from last year, as where we were using non-perishable and this year we were using perishable. So it was fresher, it was more nutritional. It was a nice meal that everyone made. But then the bamboo charcoal that we tested, we realized that bamboo isn't found in all over the country. So we had to find other ways that we can have fuel source, and then we realized that biomass fuel source is a good way to have other resources in different areas that can't get bamboo.
And then the final stage 5 of the project
would really be to see how exportable this project would be. Can it be run by somebody else in another community? Have they developed something that exists outside of just themselves?
To make sure other could make their box ovens, the Alma Bryant students created a manual and a video tutorial to complement.
Okay, first off, you're going to need a box with a lid. We used a box that holds copy paper. Don't forget the lid, that's going to be important later. You're also going to need aluminum foil. One box of 120 feet of aluminum foil should suffice for at least 2 boxes.
In the final step, the Shoreliners from all 6 high schools gathered together to present their projects at the Shoreline Capstone Summit. This time, it was at the University of New Orleans.
The prototype is totally okay.
At the summit, the Shoreliners worked together to present their projects to a panel of advisors from all across the country.
We are presenting today our Hungry, No Power, No Problem, Cooking to Empower the Powerless cooking project.
The materials.
After hearing the presentations, the panelists deliberate on numerous factors like the project's scalability or feasibility and determine a winner for best overall project.
The award for the best capstone project goes to
Bryant High School.
Congratulations.
Your hand, Tyler.
That year, Alma Bryant took home the award for the best capstone project, but the real prize came with project-based learning.
Well, one thing I like about us being able to come up with projects is that it feels a lot more personalized. Like within my chapter, we've all experienced hurricanes. It's just a natural fact of life where we live. We can take those experiences and really provide a better solution.
When it's a student leading a student, the leadership roles really play a key aspect in the whole project itself. Stepping up to do what's needed to be done is important, and when it's student-led, all the students have to take part in it for it to be accomplishable.
Shoreline is a project that wants to empower students or young people. So how does it make me different? I don't go into meetings with them and say, this is what we're doing. I say to the students, where are you? What are you working on? What issues do you see with our project or with whatever we're doing?
What is really invigorating and motivating about Shoreline is watching my students develop leadership skills and watching them get to know themselves and believe in themselves, like develop self-confidence. It's super exciting and inspiring.
Shoreline has evolved since its creation in 2013. Shoreline is not only about youth who have been exposed to natural and technological disasters like Hurricane Katrina or the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, but also about those who witness such disasters around them and around the globe and want to help. Disasters come in many forms. They can be man-made, biological, or slow-moving disasters like climate change, and the Shoreline Network is expanding to meet the challenge. From rural to urban, disasters can affect the lives of youth in any given area. Today, there are several New York City public high schools that have joined Shoreline, and the network continues to expand. With project-based learning at its core, Shoreline can flourish in a number of environments given a team of dedicated teachers, Shoreline staff, and most importantly, student leaders paving the way.